Today, breaking news. There's evidence that yesterday's checkpoint speedrun may have been spliced. Bum, bum, bum.
Heather was monitoring her splits.
Is it the credits that give it away? The part that says this thing's edited? Did you not want that on it?
It's true.
Darn.
Damn. If we only made that one tiny mistake, it would have been seamless.
Or was it all the outtakes I added in afterwards that gave away the fact that maybe the episode was longer originally?
Darn it.
Who can say?
It's the speedrunning community it's got to police itself in some, for some of these things. It's very tricky. I'm expecting there to be half a dozen, call out YouTube videos.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how we're sometime in the next.
That's how we're gonna get big.
What if we tried one of those checkpoint speedruns with the robot that does the perfect whatevers?
TAS.
Yeah. We do it. Do it TAS or automated. Yeah, automated.
Yeah, I think that would help a lot.
It's true.
I just think that maybe what we should just make like a whole show that's devoted to us clearly cheating at trying to do speed runs, so we can just generate a whole bunch of fire in the community that gets a bunch of more eyes on our videos in the first place. We should just go viral by obviously cheating at games and acting like they're real speed runs.
Yeah, I'm sure that would be extremely successful, and it wouldn't be at all just annoying for people.
It's like satire, right? Is that when you do satire, if your satire is literally just doing the thing that is irritating people.
I know I'm in the thumbnail the screenshot we took for going live, but since my name's not mentioned in the thing, this is like get out of homework free card.
Oh wow!
Am I allowed to just leave?
Oh no! I left a thing from yesterday or from last week.
That's funny.
It's Beige and Paul and a surprise guest.
Yes.
Very special guest. Heather. Sorry about that.
That was okay. I forgot. I'm gonna go tell my Discord that I exist on this show.
Oh, that's good. They'll probably appreciate that. Yeah.
They seem to like it when I do.
Anyway.
And introducing Heather Deary as Heather Deary.
Can I be someone else?
Yeah,
introducing Heather Deary.
Julia Roberts.
Ooh. I was just gonna mock somebody else in the moon base, but that works. That sounds nicer.
That's one of my favorite things about the Ocean's 11 series, like the reboot of it, is when they did the credits. They at the very end of the credits, after all the boys have been named, at the very end they go and introducing Julia Roberts as Tess Ocean or whatever it was, and I was just like, I really like that.
Well, then
as a goof they did that, because then later in the next film they did and introducing Tess Ocean as Julia Roberts because she had to pretend to be Julia Roberts. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, that was that. I'm glad you guys have fun.
Anyway.
There are so many things to talk about.
Yeah.
So many of them.
What's this show, Paul?
Welcome to ChillPoint, show where we talk about video game news and also the episode of Checkpoint that went up yesterday. So yeah, let's get into it now. So yeah, we ended up with sort of with more stories this week, which makes the whole speedrun bit
even funnier
in the intro kind of ironic, but.
Everyone was feeling real sassy, I think, is what happened.
It was like, let's have a bunch of, let's have more, but shorter stories. And then some of them didn't end up being shorter stories.
Right.
So maybe just end up being more stories.
What is it? The
GDQ?
GDQ shouldn't happen on a week when there's a lot of stories.
They have speed runs that are like 45 minutes long. I'm like, that's not fast. I don't want to sit there for 45 minutes and watch you play a game.
Have you seen how long some games are?
No, I don't play.
Some are hundreds of hours. Have you tried playing Blueprints yet? It is going to take you forever.
Most people can do it pretty quick, but for you, it's going to take a long time.
So many days.
Naughty Dog.
I think they did a speed run of Blueprints too, but
I'm sure they, yeah.
I couldn't go look at it because that. I haven't
Oh yeah,
finished the game.
spoilers. Yeah, shit.
Well, speaking of games that are taking people a long time to play, The Last of Us, which I believe they actually just finished on Let's Note.
Ah, good for them.
Oh, good. So now they can start over with the.
I believe
game
at
mode.
the hugely dramatic final moment, the game crashed.
Oh, good.
So they need to play it again. Okay, great.
Anyway,
Yep.
but Naughty Dog is rolling out a surprise update to Last of Us 2 chronological mode.
Ah,
Where, because
Yes.
Last of Us 2, and another thing that I talked to Ben a little bit about this, and he's saying that when he and Adam were playing it, the continual flashbacks and time or out of order storytelling started to be extremely frustrating for them, because they'd be like, okay, we're going along, and then it's like, oh, now we're going to tell this person's story, and then go back. And so it's like they know, it's like, you know what you're progressing towards,
yeah.
but you're taking 2 steps back every time.
I mean, I know that can be
Right,
really
right,
irritating for, especially when you're like streaming.
Yeah.
Because you kind of like have a goal in mind and stuff. But I also assume those two ignore the story outright. So I think it's probably just extra confusing.
So anyway, the chronological mode is so it basically, rather than, doing the thing, rather than playing as one character and then it flashes back and plays the other character, it actually cuts between them as you go,
Okay.
integrating their stories together, which I could see could be interesting. Although, and Graham who wrote this story, he cited the Memento special edition DVD that had the reordered thing, which was a super cool idea, but also it's like one of those things where, like, I remember, like, I watched like a bit of it,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, in order, like, this is a very weird movie
Yeah.
because it keeps like restating things that you already know,
Right.
and
Yeah.
putting things.
I mean,
in.
if Beach had written a story, he would just brought up Haruhi.
I mean, if I'd written the story, I would have actually written the entire story out of order.
Oh, yeah.
That would have
does
been
sound
confusing.
like something you would have done.
Yeah. It would have been hard to do, because how do you write a news story like that out of order unless you are dropping information that tries to explain something you haven't even talked about yet, and that's hard to do. But yeah,
but as I saw
I
some
mean, we
people.
could have put a cut at the end of the show, putting it in order.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
that'd have been fun. Yeah.
I saw some people in the comments saying that like, oh, I had that DVD, and being excited about a Memento shout out, but it's like, also though, being, oh, I love Memento, I'm gonna watch it again in this other way, is an hour and 45 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
Playing through a like 20 or 30 hour game again.
Yes, that's fair.
Just to sort of see it in this different form is a lot bigger of an ask.
I
It's
mean,
true.
okay, but if you played the game when it first came out and you didn't grab the remastered edition,
Yeah, if it's been long
and they
enough.
were like, "Hey, we're putting out this chronological edition," and you've been thinking about it, maybe that would be a thing that you'd be like, "Oh, I have kind of been wanting to play it again. I'd like to check it out in that other mode." Maybe. I'm trying to think of who would benefit the most from something like that, and generally it's going to be somebody who's already played the game once, I think.
like another game, a game that there's was it the Chronicles of Riddick game, Escape from Butcher Bay, which was really good game. Great sort of first-person shooter thing. I played it on stream back in the Things on My Stream days. But it had what was at the time kind of an innovative idea, where they had a full director's commentary, effectively.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
Where you could turn it on, and then in the world there were like little sort of tape recorders, basically, that would be kind of floating in the air, and you could activate it, and it would be, the directors talking about things.
Oh, okay.
And they were really well done and really cool. But the problem is, right, it's like you only want to do that after you've already beaten the game.
Which means you have to play the entire game
And you don't want to,
again.
and it's like,
Yeah.
you have to really want it to be able to want to play the entire game again.
Also, question, like when you hit the tape recorder, is it one of those tape recorders that you have to stay near to hear the whole thing?
Yes.
Slowing down the whole process.
Yeah.
It's because like I was watching someone do a bit of a playthrough of Fallout 4 and the whole Pip-Boy thing where you put the tape in and then you walk around, but it's like it's with you.
Yeah.
So you hear it. I was like, oh, I like this. This is pretty good. Like why? Okay, I know technically you're walking away from a tape recorder and shit game, but like, come on.
Yeah.
Let's just pretend that doesn't matter.
Having it so you can keep the tape recorder with you.
Yeah.
Or you go into the menu and listen to the audio log, but then you can like close the menu and keep walking around. Is very important.
Yeah, you need to have like the person has a Walkman.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it's like when the
Come up with
those
some
are-
idea.
yeah, when you
for it,
find a
yeah.
cassette tape or whatever, it's like, oh, you pull out your Walkman,
Those
you
are cool again, right?
put a cassette tape in there and close it and rewind
when
it.
we were in Japan, we found an entire store with Walkmans and
Yeah.
cassette tapes. So those are cool again, right?
I guess.
Nobody cares about vinyl anymore. We're all like back into
Oh
scratchy
no,
tapes.
everybody cares about vinyl. Don't worry.
Nobody
Everybody
cares about vinyl.
also cares about CD players again. Apparently,
Although maybe
too.
they do, because Astrobot just
Cool.
is getting a vinyl.
Yeah.
Actually made me want to learn how to use the record machine here.
Ah.
So anyway, more ways to play Last of Us 2. Although if you haven't played it yet, apparently you should play it the normal way, according to Naughty Dog.
All right.
And
Whatever
if
you
you
say.
haven't played it yet, that's fine.
Yep. It doesn't matter.
There's a TV series, I guess, if you really want to cheat.
I don't even have to care
In
what
some
happens.
ways, is the TV series like the chronological version?
So
I
my
don't know.
understanding is the TV series is a bit different because, I mean, for one, that because I haven't watched it, I just heard people talk about some differences and stuff.
Right.
And it's like you can add in certain scenes and things that you can't in a video game because,
Yeah, they had a whole episode about the gay couple,
yeah.
which like shows up in Last of Us, but it's like
But it's like stuff that,
let's elaborate on what their story is in this world. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's like, unless their story involves shooting a lot of monsters,
Yeah.
But also, you know,
there's a limited amount of that we can get.
Put in the
Put in,
game.
yeah.
even
Yeah.
if you really if you want to play the game, you're like, but I got so many other cool things to play, especially like this year when there's so many cool games coming out. It's okay. They'll probably re-release this again in another like 5 to 10 years. So you can let it hit that list then.
Speaking of games that may be coming out, but aren't right now. In a shareholders meeting, Capcom.
No, Mega Man is never happening, guys.
Yeah.
We all know that's true.
In a shareholder meeting, the Capcom was asked about what the status of Mega Man is, and they said that there's no game. They are not currently working on a game, but they acknowledge that everyone likes it. They say that yes, Mega Man is one of our most important IPs, and we are continuously considering ways to develop it further.
Sure.
They're continuously repackaging it and selling it to you. You will never get another Mega Man Legends game. That dream died so many years ago.
Somebody was that there was definitely a couple of people who had visceral reactions to a little bit of Mega Man. I don't know anything about Mega Man
Okay.
Legends.
No.
Bees just suggested I put that into the
They were
intro.
working on a Mega Man Legends game. I only know this because this was about the time where I was checking out some video game stuff and I saw that they were doing this and I was like, oh, that seems really cool. They were working on a Mega Man Legends game with fan input where they were doing designs and stuff and then they canceled that.
Oofa doofa.
And
What?
that
Wait.
did not go over well. And it's never happening. It's never coming out. It's been so long.
What if the fan input was don't do this? You should.
That was
cancel
definitely
this
not
game."
the fan input. Fans were very hyped for this game.
I mean, when you think about Mega Man, like throughout the years, though, starting with like the Nintendo, like the NES and the Game Boy era, and we get out of that era, because like Mega Man 9 and Mega Man 10, they were like, well, we're going to do those. But like when they moved to the Super Nintendo, they said, well, let's do Mega Man X. Move to 16-bit. Have it be it's the same, but it's not. Like it's like there is some differences there, right? They wanted an X does have a bit of a different feel to it. But it's not that huge a departure. But then, like, yeah, as like Mega Man Soccer, Mega Man Legends, like there's like all these other Mega Man things, and then there was kind of like it feels like we're floundering a little bit until Mega Man Battle Network, and that's an RPG. Right. It's like, oh, we found we redesigned what Mega Man looks like. We're going to redesign the whole sense.
Too.
Yeah, Mega Man NT, I think, in Mega Man Battle Network, and it's like. That whole thing, they did rethink it. They were like, well, what do we do with this thing that we've already made like 9 or 10 or 11 like side-scrolling shooting games out of? We tried soccer. We tried an RPG. What if we tried actual like this other kind of thing, just revamp Mega Man for like for whatever the kids are, the millennials, I guess, would have been the ones who were interested in this. Make it new for them. And they did, and it went great. And that's, I think, why they're like, we don't know what to do with Mega Man at this point. It's like, I understand, because you tried bringing it back out as a side-scroller, and it got some people excited, but not probably anywhere near the number of people you thought would be excited by it.
I mean, Mega Man 11 came out 7 years ago. Yeah. That was the sort of...
The last one.
And that was sort of a, like, return to form. Blah,
yeah.
Blah, blah. It also sold more than any Mega Man game has.
So there you go. Okay.
But...
Maybe
not more than... Any, not it was very successful. I guess not ridiculously successful.
The kind of successful they need to.
Maybe Mega Man needs to make some needs to take some lessons from another blue hero, and make some friends, and go to the Olympics, and try a kart racer. Well, really like
Jesus, Lurbot,
get in there.
That is. MTV CDN says to Lurbot, what should they do with Mega Man? And then Lurbot responds with, this is probably already a skin in Fortnite, isn't it? It's like, wow, that's amazing, Lurbot.
I don't think it is, though.
Kind of him?
I think so.
It probably isn't. But I mean, yeah, Mega Man Maker was being featured on Games Done Quick, which I think is not an official project at all.
So
right?
there was a comment that mentioned that there's like game jams based on Mega Man and other things, and there's some really cool stuff in the fan community, I believe.
And there's something very special about like that formula. I think the kind of like pick a world, go fight the thing. It's very formulaic, and it seems to work for a reason.
Yeah, and I mean, I really like. So I mean, I like the story, and I think. So Nelson wrote this story, and he did a great job. 'Cause like when I put this story into the doc, sometimes when I put stories into the doc, I'll like put a little note on it, being like sort of have like the thing that I found funny about this story or whatever.
Yeah.
And so for this one, I had the like, just get synonyms for fire, ice, water, and electricity, and you're done.
Yeah.
And Nelson did a great job of like taking that little sort of nugget and then turning it into. I really like the sort of story he built around it, that I think works really well. And also, Conflagration Man.
Yeah, Conflagration Man is good.
Is good, and also, it is also true. I think that it's like Battle Network is cool. There's all sorts of neat ideas you could think of to do with the Mega Man IP. But fundamentally, like I said, Mega Man 11 was the most popular Mega Man game they've done in terms of sales. People still like Mega Man. Like, Mega Man is essentially like a level design exercise.
Yeah.
Right? Like when I say that those are like, you just need to come up with the different names of the bosses, and then you're like halfway there. Mega Man 11, yeah. When I come up with you just come up with the name of the bosses, and you're like halfway there. Obviously, the important thing about Mega Man is the level design.
Yeah.
Right. And that's still actually, that's quite difficult. And there are certain games that have come out and tried to be sort of spiritual successors and stuff.
Yeah.
To Mega Man that haven't quite cooked the same way.
Sold 2 million units worldwide as of December 31st, 2024. Mega Man Legacy Collection was 1.6 million, and Mega Man 2 was 1.51 million.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean,
But that's
But it's like when you compare things like modern day versus like there were less people buying video games back in the thing. Like Mega Man.
sure. It's
yeah.
just like I think about like some of the Nintendo fan areas I've seen, and Nintendo mentions games in its finance calls once a game surpasses 1 million units sold,
Right.
and how excited people get about that. And Nintendo will sell a game like Pikmin, and it'll hit like 2 or 3 million, and that will be successful enough that they will try again, as opposed to
And that's
Yeah.
and that's the other thing,
other
right?
groups that don't seem to want to.
Is that sure you're maybe selling 2 million copies. It's not the best selling game of all time.
It still
Yeah.
seems pretty
But
good.
it's also not the most expensive game to make of all time. You know,
That's
we talked about some of the development stuff that like the new Battlefield is going through last week, where they've basically they're like it's got to sell like 500 million copies or something stupid.
Yeah.
And the people it was like 50, I don't know, maybe it was like 50 million.
It was $100 million budgeted, has been spent so far. And then they're like, so in order for us to make our money back, we need to sell 400 million copies. It's like, I think your math is off.
And it's like it has to sell like 2 or 3 times as much
As the previous
as the
one.
previously best
Yeah.
selling game. And it's just like,
Yeah.
so, but the idea of, maybe you can actually just make a good game that doesn't cost $100 million
I guess
and sells well.
The other question is in what time frame, because most sales seem to go within
Right.
their first week is when they counter stuff, but stuff still continues to sell for a while.
I would enjoy, I think, a Mega Man game, because I like Metroidvania style games, right?
Mega Man Metroidvania.
Yeah.
Megavania.
Yeah. Well, or we could adopt Rockman into that somehow too. But I also feel like Mega Man could work as that. It could also work as a kind of like Metroid Prime in that it doesn't have to be first person though. It could be third person, but it could be you're walking around and you're shooting stuff. You're in confined areas and you're making your way to like through the stage to fight a boss. And that could work as a Mega Man game as well, where you're and being able to swap out weapons and do all that kind of stuff. Like Other M, for all the kind of narrative problems that Metroid Other M had, the idea of I'm trapped in a room and I'm having to kill something, and then I get to like go along my way and go through these interesting set pieces that are all 3D. It's like there's a lot there where I'm like I think it'd be an interesting feel for Mega Man, especially to be like now he's in like moving from rooms to rooms and he's moving through confined spaces and stuff, or he's moving to open spaces or like semi-open spaces, and yeah, there might be a way to make that kind of thing work too. I'm not sure, and make it an action RPG kind of thing of like you're able to upgrade the strength of your base weapon, or you're able to upgrade your armor or something like that. But like really, it is all about acquiring the new weapons and doing cool new things with the new weapons, and I think that would be interesting.
Have they done a Mega Man Tactics game yet?
I mean, Battle Network was tactical, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of tactics based around that. Yeah,
Like, wasn't it?
I have
Battle
no
Network?
idea.
I think
Like,
Battle Network was like
These are-
a grid based.
yeah, pick your
like,
squares. Yeah,
3D thing.
Like Mega Man's a game that when I hear people talk about it, they talk about like Mega Man 2. And they
Yeah.
talk about the fact that it's like, oh, what level of progression do you want to go? Because you could pick which bosses you would go after first or in what order, and some stuff that sounded pretty interesting.
Mega Man games were always about pick the boss's level
Like
you want to go through
those seem
first.
to be the ones that people
yeah.
care about, or at least it's the ones they talk about.
Mega Man 2 and Mega Man 3 are kind of like the definitive ones of the series.
Right. Those are the numbers. $400 million in development, and they want 100 million players. The previous highest was like, I don't know, 30 million
Oh,
or
for-
something.
What was
For
it, Battlefield?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Anyway. Let's...
I got my numbers backwards. Yeah, $400 million spent, 100 million players, whatever.
Let's move on to Stop Killing Games.
Okay. Did we do it?
Yeah, but we pledge that we will not kill any more games.
Okay. Good.
No. So stop killing games. It's this consumer advocacy movement that has it's been going like the project has been going for a couple months, but it sort of ramped up in the last little while because the time
Hasn't it been like nearly a year?
maybe even
I feel like it's been
it's been
a
a
while.
while. But the date for the ending of the petition or whatever is coming up, so everything's ramping up on it, and the petition has theoretically achieved not only enough signatures but way over the number of signatures. That being said,
I thought they were waiting for verification on a bunch of signatures.
well, they say that being said, yeah, they want to like do a lot more than the required amount because there's a good chance that a good chunk of signatures will be disallowed because they're not people from Europe or they're people double doing it or something. So anyway, because this is actually this is not just like a random petition or whatever. This is actually has some weight to it, which is kind of interesting.
Well,
at least it requires at least it will get sort of looked at.
It's the European Commission, I think, that has to do it, or is it the European Union? Like one of the two, I think, has to pay attention and be like, okay, now we have to address this. We have to decide if this is worth it, and if the thing is like, there's a certain level. Whenever I'm on ChillPoint or whatever, whenever I'm here, I always like, okay, well, let's look at the realistic, the pragmatic result, which will always end up being the one that's like very much like the status quo, unfortunately, right? It's like, well, what do we do that requires minor changes to whatever? It's like, this is an idealistic movement. This is saying that we liked it when we could walk into a store and buy a Nintendo game and put it into our Nintendo when the game was fucking done. Like, that's what they wanted, right? I can always play this game.
To some extent, it's not, because a lot of this is talking about sort of
games with servers and stuff.
Server-based stuff and online. Like, it's not necessarily games that have no need for an online component and being shoved in there. It's more like end of life stuff.
Yes,
for that.
I get that. What I'm saying is that this comes from the idealism of a game is always available to me. Like if I bought the game is always available to me. And that comes from that idea of like I would walk, even buying like a copy of Monopoly, right? Like you go into the store and you buy Settlers of Catan and it's done. Like you just own that game. That board game is finished. We can buy a lot more expansions for Catan if you want to, but
I was going to say on that particular note, we have a copy of Settlers of Catan that did expire.
That's true, yes.
Because it was made of chocolate.
Exactly, yeah.
And it got very, very old.
Yeah, we had to throw it out. But that idea, I know where that's coming from. It's coming from the idea of like I paid for a thing and it should be mine until it completely falls apart and then I have to buy a new one.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I disagree with that.
Well, because
continue.
I can't think of another reason why to argue stridently that because if everything's changed and we're all fine with the fact that everything's changed because things are going to evolve and change over the years, there'd be no reason to say, like, oh, well, no, wait. If that game that requires, like, I paid for a copy of Battlefield. I don't know why, but we'll just pick Battlefield. And that requires servers to play on, but I paid for my copy of Battlefield, so I should be able to keep playing Battlefield. And it's like, you can't because we shut down the servers. It's like, this brings it back to thinking, but I own that, and I should be able to continue to keep playing it. And that idealism is valuable. I'm on the side of these guys because it's like I want to see this go through, and I want to see the EU or the EC try to do something that says, okay, you know what? If you're going to sell something to these people, if you're going to actually sell them a thing, they own that, and they should get to use it as much as they want to until they decide they don't want to use it anymore. It's not your place as, well, I sold you a thing. Use a car analogy. I sold you a car and now you have to start driving this car because I've decided you have to go buy a new car or you have to buy this year's car. It's like, that would never fly. So this idea of like, you bought Battlefield, it's like, yeah, but we're shutting down the service. You have to buy this version of Battlefield. And it's like, but I already bought the copy that I want to keep playing And I get it. Yeah, I don't think you should be able to take that away from me.
One of the other components of the thing isn't just like, oh, the servers go down. It's that some companies then, because people will have figured out how to make their own
Third-party
server,
server,
and they will take out components so that people can't do that
Yeah.
at all.
And that sounds awful.
So in a weird way, that kind of, to me, that speaks more of like being against your right to repair in that sense.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and it's a little bit more than just, oh, well, the company isn't running the servers anymore. Because it kind of get, like, after a while, if there's not enough people playing the game, you're not going to keep the servers up.
Yeah. But you know that somebody who is interested in the game, and they're like,
And
I know
there's-
there's only 50 people on the planet who want to keep playing this
Yeah.
game, so I'll run the server
And
for
there's
everybody.
older games that, like, you needed, like, an online kind of connectivity to play. And if you group up in a LAN party or whatever, you can still play, right? Like, you can't play online anymore, but there are ways around it.
Yeah.
It's so one of the things about this that I think it kind of rubbed me the wrong way about it to start with, and I think might annoy people, is that it explicitly, with the stop killing games thing, is they're not offering solutions.
No.
And so, and if you see discussions about the pros and cons of the movement, you'll see a lot of things being people being like, they just want to make they want to make the devs have to operate the servers for
Ad infinitum, yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
And that's not feasible.
Right.
And then people stop killing games. Is like, no, that's not what we're saying. But then they also don't actually like. It's like that's not what we're saying, but sort of a very clean definition of what they're saying is also not that easy to have.
I mean,
Because the idea is that they want a process, they want a framework to be developed so that these things can be these things are made explicit with that. And in fact, in some cases, it's not that the game can't be shut down. It's that the game can't be advertised as being there and then get shut down, right?
Interesting.
It's like if you are, it's in some ways mostly like an advertising thing where it's like you're saying that this game, you never made any in the thing, you never said that it's going to disappear in 2 years when I bought this game.
so you should have said so.
You should have said so.
Yeah, the prospective life for this game will be this game published in 2025. The prospective life for this game will be until this date in 2030. At which point we will be reevaluating whether we want to keep it alive or not.
Yeah.
And it's like, a lot of things they talk about don't. A lot of things they talk about would take a lot of work or might take a lot of work. Although one would argue that they would, if it's actually built into the development process from the beginning.
Yeah.
Because again,
I mean, you'd have to.
explicitly in the thing, they are not calling for retroactive forcing.
Because that would be
Companies to do
that would
stuff.
be where the expense would be
Right.
enormous. Right?
Trying to dig up old code that's been archived or put away or lost or anything.
But it's this idea of like building a framework so that it's part of the development process.
Yeah.
Like if you and there already are sort of law or things around this for like shutting, anytime or often when you shut down some sort of product, especially if it's a very large thing, if there's a wonderful day when Facebook shuts down,
Right.
I believe, I might be wrong about this, but I believe there are actually certain regulations in place at the moment already where they can't just be like suddenly gone from the internet tomorrow. They have to have a certain sort of shutdown procedure where they're making the data available.
I mean,
to
usually
people and
there's an
doing different
announcement
things.
of something shutting down.
Well, and there's
right?
enough frameworks that also third parties are plugged into for Facebook where businesses and whatnot needing to understand, it's like, well, how do I understand like the effect on my business or the pieces that are part of that stuff that Facebook makes. The thing that I do think is important because I often like when you have experienced harm, it doesn't matter if you're a consumer or a victim, right? Like that kind of thing, be it like assault or be it just like I've bought something and then something bad happened to me as a result of it. But it's like when you've experienced harm, the ability to be able to go to the courts and say, well, I've experienced harm, and they're like, well, what do you want as restitution? It's okay to say to the judge, what do you think is fair for this kind of harm that I've experienced? Like, I've experienced harm. I think that I should be getting X, but what do you think is fair? And then the judge turns around and says, you know what, you're asking for X, but I think you should have X plus Y. Or you should have X minus Y, I think is actually a fair, judgment in this case. And then the judge makes a decision and does that. And I think that's really what's driving this here too, is this sense that it's like a bunch of people said, we feel like we're suffering a harm at the hands of the industry. They're taking away our ability to interact with the thing that they sold us, not just rented or leased or licensed to us, but they're selling us a thing. So by saying, here's our problem, we have experienced harm. EC, what do you think needs to be done about this? I think maybe that's what that's the position they're trying to take, is like, we're not trying to be prescriptive about our remedies. We think that we have experienced harm and we want the laws to change to understand, to rectify this. And then the EC has to say, okay, well, do we think they have a case for that? Do they think that the laws are out of order in this case, and what do we do? And I think that's why we can all in chat be saying, well, they should do this, well, they should do this, well, they should do that. And it's like, right, but I think starting with the idea of, hey, guys, I think the regulatory environment does not recognize that we are being harmed. We want you to recognize that we're being harmed, and then we can come up with ways to actually address it. I think that's what we're looking at.
So,
here.
I mean, the way I see this is, and I mean, part of that story was the lobbyist group and how they were like, then it'll change everything and it'll be bad. And
so that's
and
been
whatnot, right?
Obviously
But
this thing has been happening for a while. The reason why it's a new story is
they're not wrong in okay, the way they're phrasing stuff like, oh, it'll have a chilling effect. It's clearly meant to like push for a certain thing.
Right.
Sure.
But they're not wrong in the idea that when laws change, there's an effect on how things are made.
Yeah.
right.
Right? The idea that, for instance, there are several mobile games that when rules went into place on things about how loot boxes had to be treated, because they want those mobile games to be the same all across, they either have to make a separate version that adheres to that rule in
Belgium or
in
wherever.
whatever area that it's going to get downloaded in. They have to make that work all across every single version of it, or they don't sell that version in that region.
Right.
More often than not, a lot of those mobile games just stopped being available in those regions. So yeah, if and that's going to be like a pros and cons thing of whether or not they think they can make enough money. But to me, it's not an unfeasible idea that they go, oh, the laws in Europe are, if we make a online server game and we have to make it run forever, and I know that's not totally what's being asked, but that's what we have to do. Well, it's just not available there then.
Yeah.
And I mean,
If that market is not considered valuable enough for them to have to do that in the weight of whatever their scales are, they probably won't sell it.
And that's a EU thing that they have pushed in a lot of cases, where the EU's regulations on certain things are quite strict, obviously much stricter than, say, the United States.
Yeah.
And to the extent that the cost of doing business for big companies, especially big multinational companies in the EU, can be quite a bit larger than it is doing in the States. The EU, the whole point of the union part of the European Union is that they can all get together and basically, act as a unit and be a big enough economic entity that they can throw their weight around and force people to do things. So, I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I'm just saying the outcome of we won't sell stuff in your area, while that sounds like a nothing threat, I think that's just a thing that could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a reason to give in.
And-
if like, because also the other threat of, well, we won't sell those kinds of games anymore. I'm like, well, that just happens regularly though. We hit paces in video games where they're like, oh, well, only this thing sells, so we're all gonna go make this thing right now. Right? Like,
And it's and I mean, as Graham said in the article, right, or in the story, right, it's like the threat of, you don't like these games that we don't support and then kill the servers of, you don't like us doing that, so now we're not going to make games that we don't support and kill the servers on, is like not the best
it's not
threat.
a big threat, but it is a thing that might end up happening. And I mean, I don't play a lot of games that require servers or like hanging out with people in that way. So to me, it's just like, oh, what, your Call of Duty server goes away?
Yeah.
Eh?
And I mean, as a as an entity that has sold product in the EU, which is something we have done, even though we have not we have no warehouse or retailer in the EU, we have sold stuff that has been shipped to the EU.
But there certainly are a lot of extra costs involved.
Yes, and we have run afoul of that to the point where we had to even say we
In some
can't.
cases, it didn't make
Yeah.
economic sense for us to do it.
We can't sell them there because we have no idea how we're going to be compliant with that, so we have to stop. And that was a net detriment, or negative, or however you want to look at it, for that period of time that we found that was not be able to work. And and so it's like, I'm sympathetic to the fact that the businesses will be like, oh, we'll have to change how we do business, and I'm like, yes,
Yeah, they will.
yes.
But like, and that's what I'm trying to get at. Is like,
Yeah.
those are realities that could occur. They might not be able to make those. They might say, we're not making those games anymore because the rules that are now in place are not beneficial to us.
Yeah.
At the same time, though, I feel like that's an empty threat, because if running servers and having stuff taken away is deemed as terrible as it is, then maybe we shouldn't have those things in the first place, if you're not going to work to make it a better thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, like I was saying, obviously this petition or this project has been going for a little while, but then because it's picked up steam, the European game, it's a very generic name. What is it? It's
Video
like
Games Europe.
Video Games Europe,
Mm-hmm.
the lobbying group. Some of the language in this response that they have just struck me. So like, as rights holders and economic entities, video game companies must remain free to decide when an online game is no longer commercially viable and to end continued server support for that game. Imposing a legal obligation to continue server support indefinitely or develop online video games in a specific technical manner that will allow permanent use will raise the costs and risks of developing such games. I mean, yes.
Yeah.
But also, they're also making.
But it's just that like,
Yeah.
we have to be free.
Yeah.
Don't you see?
have to
Why
be-
are you taking our freedom?
We have to be free to sell you a thing that we can take away from you in 6 months to 2 years or 3 years or whatever, right? It's like, we have to be free to be able to take your money and then not give you value for it. Like, there's that, right? And they're also thinking of the worst case scenario in their respect, which is we will be forced to maintain every single game we've ever made, and we have to pay for it, and it means 100 million people will be playing every single game all the time, forever and ever, amen.
I
and
think
we'll never
it's
be able to
bigger
stop.
than that.
And yeah,
Oh, you know, most of these people who, like, investors and all the people who are going to be like upset that this might cost more money, also invest in other things that are completely subscription based.
Yeah.
And you can have knock-on effects. So let's say this goes through. It's a terrible idea to have stuff that can be taken away.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We rectify that. We make it a rule in video games. Great. Well, what about Netflix?
Yeah.
What about all the streaming services we have that are impermanent?
yeah. Or it's like,
Are
hey,
they
I
next?
I came
They're
to
gonna
Netflix.
feel like they're next.
I came to Netflix to watch this movie because you had it on the service. Now this movie's going away. Why? I was always able to watch this movie on Netflix. Why is it going away? That a possibility, not necessarily.
I'm just saying, if you want to
Yeah.
like really doom scroll real
Yeah.
far out as to what the worst possibility is as a person who's going to lose all their money.
Yeah. And also the EC doesn't, like, really, no entity on earth makes perfect laws. So it could be that whatever happens here, that a negotiated law or some sort of whatever the EC decides to do might be a thing that is implemented poorly or in a way that doesn't quite cover the problem that either Stop Killing Games is concerned about or that Video Games Europe members are concerned about, and that it could end up being a thing that's like we're trying to enshrine consumer rights, but maybe we fuck it up somehow in the process. So you try to hope that at least the regulatory groups are going to make good decisions and reasonable decisions and reasoned decisions, but it might also be that they fuck something up along the way as well. So I guess we just have to see how it all falls into place.
Yeah, I mean, it's still going to be probably months before we hear any real resolution.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that consumers demand, $80 Animal Crossing Crocs.
Yes.
You do know that like
$85
Crocs are
Animal
like
Crossing.
what, $60 or $70 Canadian to start with, right?
I already knew that they were like $60 Canadian if you want to go buy like a single color set of Crocs.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that if you want to buy the ones that don't have the holes in them, that they're more money a lot of the times. That it's like if you just want like a normal looking work shoe looking Croc, you can get that, but it costs more because there's more foam in it, I guess. I don't know why, because there's no holes, right? I think, and I really do think, they look cute as hell. And if I had the kind of disposable income to be like, yo, I need to buy a new pair of Crocs to wear around my house, I would totally buy those Animal Crossing Crocs. They look great. I wouldn't put the charms on them, I don't think, but I just like how the color scheme, and they look like it's like wearing the Animal Crossing Switch on my feet, which Heather will not let me do.
Because it's my Switch.
Yeah.
Animal Crocsing? Crocs?
No.
Animal Crocsing would have been a really good lower third for that.
But anyway, I mean, there isn't that much else to the story. It's
Well, other than Beach basically poking fun at people who are talking about Animal Crossing being rumored to that they'll announce it for Switch 2 or something. That's what the beginning of that story where he's like,
Yeah.
oh well, all of our precious darlings are going to come to the new hotness.
I was
I've gotten so many video things in my YouTube feed that are like, ooh, Animal Crossing 2026, and I'm like,
That's why I did that.
Please stop.
and
I
then
can't.
and also
You're all talking about rumory things.
and then also Beach wanted to make sure that everybody was reminded of the sad, depressing things.
Yeah, I was actually going to try to work the pandemic in a second time when I talked about nurses wearing Crocs until they all had to retire from the healthcare industry because the pandemic completely broke their brains. And I was like, I really don't want to get into that if I can help it. Oh, environmental impact. We'll do that instead. Because I'm like, if I can do pandemic 3 times, that's 3 beats. That's an actual joke.
Remember, Chad,
Sure
every
it is.
story that you see on ChillPoint, I've watched at least 3 times in the edit. And if it's Beach's story, I've heard it an additional 5 to 6 times in other forms that are just as sad.
If it's a depressing thing, saying it 3 times doesn't make it funny.
No, I guess not. Heather has to hear me do my read at home where I'm testing out different ways. Because when I write these things at home, I'm in our living room. And when I'm done writing what I'm going to do, I start delivering it, and then I test out different ways to deliver it so I get a better handle on, do I want to do it like this? Do I want to do it like that? So she has to hear me read the same thing over and over and over
There was
again.
one time I was wearing headphones doing something else, and I didn't realize Beach had gone off to write yet. And he was doing like a much more emphatic story, and he just started yelling swears really loudly, and that was all I could hear through my headphones, and I was just like, I don't...
He might be in trouble,
It's
but
like he's having a bad day.
and it's usually like 2 a.m, right? So it's
it's usually something.
it's why I write in the living room, because it's like no one's above or below me most likely, so they're not going to hear me in our
The layout dictates that you should not be around someone's bedroom.
Yeah.
So we should at least not be disturbing our neighbors.
But if your neighbors want to get a good night's sleep, they could get a PS2 fluffy plush. Fluffy plush.
Right?
PS2
Great.
toy.
As long as you're not having trouble with this.
Which is legitimately kind of adorable.
I mean, most things in plush form really are.
It's true.
Even if they don't do anything
Despite
to
the-
really cutesify them.
Despite the PS2 being like a notably square, like the PS2 like goes out of its way to have more square right angles than like a box. It's like a box with other boxes on it.
What gets me, because what I'm not sure about, and having been to like go to EB Games and like look at the plush buckets, right? Basically seeing what they have there. More often than not, you're getting stuff that is like with polyfill or whatever inside of it, obviously, or some sort of similar thing to add to the squish of it. But when I don't think this thing is filled with polyfill. I think it's constructed around a chunk of foam, like a cushion.
It's probably foam.
Yeah,
of some kind.
And
if it wants to maintain the square shape, like the
our Super
Nintendo controller you have is definitely made out of some sort of foam thing.
The big one that we brought home from the Nintendo Museum is I didn't know, like, when we got there and
I like that you act like you can conjure it in front of you.
It's fucking huge, and it's like, and I didn't know, like, how are you going to make this like work as a thing? It's going to be all like a fluffy pillow, and you get it, and it's like, no, it's foam, like a couch cushion, and then it has the raised areas and stuff with all the embroidery.
It's really neat. I do kind of wish it was more.
A little more squishy, yeah.
Yeah, but I also then wouldn't. It was quite a bit of money, so I wouldn't actually.
It wouldn't feel like it has value.
I want a cheap Super Nintendo fluffy pillow that's basically like a body pillow that I can actually hang out on and not feel bad about using.
I mean, I understand why it cost the money it did, because when you look at the amount of embroidery and shaping that went into making it, I was like, oh god, yeah, you guys made like the select and start buttons are raised and stuff.
But
so
like at that
I'm hoping
point,
the PS2 actually has a similar kind of construction.
Oh, it does not look like that.
No.
But like at that point, it's like you've made what should be a household everyday item and made it a collectible figurine that hangs on a wall.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I just want like more of the household item-y feel of it.
I mean, and we were talking a little bit, and I, to be honest, I haven't bothered to look, but the thing, a PS2, tough for doing the plush thing. A PS3. Like a PS3 is sort of, it's kind of got that like slightly inflated look to it.
Yep.
Like it would work perfectly for a pillow. It basically looks like a pillow anyway.
Yeah. I guess on its anniversary.
They should definitely make one if they haven't one.
I have no idea how they're
going
to do a PS5 pillow. I mean, that
the little swoopy bits would be very difficult.
It's going to be very weird.
If you make it out of a thick piece of fabric, you might be able to get like some stiffness in that if it was a thick enough piece of fabric.
So I'm saying is when they make the PS6, they really need to think about its plushy construction first.
It's true, yeah.
Before they
That's
design
the
how
biggest
it should be. It's the
consideration.
biggest consideration.
They're going to just make
very
it
important.
Just
also,
make it a sphere.
It's going to be an orb, yeah.
Need to make it not as tall as the PS5. If my fucking PS5 does not fit on things, and I don't care how first world a problem that is, I just no.
It takes up a fair bit of your desk, yeah.
It's so loud.
And then the final story in the actual episode was talking about this new partnership between Xsolla. Is that how you pronounce that?
I'm assuming Xsolla, but I don't know. Yeah.
And Affirm, which Xsolla is the company that does a lot of the payment processing for a lot of games. And Affirm is another payment network system, and they're setting up a thing that will allow buy now, pay later for DLC, or also like what do you call it?
In-game cosmetics,
but
currency.
Yeah, currency, and you can purchase it over a period of time, which is very unfortunate.
Yep.
It's a very like.
I don't think it's wrong for us to have a position on this because it's kind of destructive.
I mean, the fact that it's not even like the fact that it's not even like a destructive thing. I mean, it is. It's not a great thing to exist. The idea of people buying.
It's more
DLC.
It's more the society of like how this affects everybody and why this exists as opposed to
Yeah, exactly. Like people,
the function of it.
The idea of buying people buying DLC that they can't afford and paying for it over time is weird. But what's more disturbing is the idea that these two very large payment companies feel that there's a big enough market
Yeah.
that they think that this will be a successful product.
Yeah.
That they see that that they have found that there's a lot of demand. I think is more worrying in some ways.
Well, because I can see the idea of like, we know people would spend $100 on all those gems, but they don't. They only spend $20 on less gems, but they would spend $100 on all those gems right away if we can just make it feel like they're only buying the $20 pack, and you're getting bonus gems when you buy 100. You're getting so many
You'd
more
be
gems.
silly not to.
Probably, I guess.
Yeah,
I've
so-
seen some games that don't do that, and I don't understand them.
Yeah, I know, but it's like the at that point the end user is saying, oh well, shit, I can just finance this over 4 weeks. I can spend $25 a week when I was already spending $25 a week to buy less gems to play Arena, but now I can buy 100 gems in one go to play Arena. And it's like, that seems like it's a net benefit, because then, hey, they actually got more gems out of it and spent the same amount they would spend every week. It's like, right. That doesn't seem like a normal user, right? Like, this doesn't seem like
It's like you've convinced me.
yeah,
This
it's
is
like
actually good for the
It doesn't
consumer.
seem like, and also you've made $100 purchase so fast and so easy that's kind of like, don't worry, I'll pay that $25 every week. I'm like, well, next week when you go play, you might have burned through all your gems from the previous week. You're not metering it out like a parent does when they give their kid a fucking Fortnite card that only has like 1,000 V-Bucks. It's like, this is what you get for the first 2 weeks. You'll get another one in 2 weeks' time. I don't give you all your Fortnite money right away, because you clearly will just spend all of it, and then you'll bitch to me about it for the next 3 weeks of the month.
Maybe we should go back to concepts like layaway and things that don't involve get thing now.
Yeah.
Pay for it later.
Layaway was kind of an interesting idea, right? Like
Right, I guess layaway is like the opposite of buy now pay later.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like set aside. I've put money towards. It's almost like pre-ordering, except you like the item exists, and if you already have all the money for it,
and like getting
they'll
rain
give it to
checks
you,
and
right?
stuff, right? Where it was like, I want to get this, but I want a rain check on it. It's like, okay, well, we'll honor that amount because you put part of the money down, and we'll hold it for you until you can pay the rest of it, and the rain check lets you pick it up later as well.
Not.
Isn't that how a rain check works?
Rain check was like, oh, we're out of thing, but we're giving you a thing that says when you come back later, you can buy it for that price because we guaranteed that it would be in stock. I don't know that they do those
The
anymore.
layaway counter and the rain check counter were the same counter.
Yeah, but layaway,
so I always assumed they
was
worked
like
roughly the same.
We've put this aside for you. You put money on it.
Okay.
Some people do this still when they're pre-ordering stuff from like EB Games or whatever, like
Right.
a place that wants you to put money down as a part in order to keep it.
And
I know people will be like, okay, I put money on it as I go.
Yeah.
And that's the same kind of deal. But yeah, layaway is not quite the same thing as a rain check.
Teaching financial responsibility is one thing, but also trying to encourage people to be financially responsible, I think, is the second half of that. And it's like, we as a society are not good at doing the first thing very well. Right? It's like not everybody gets really good financial education, but then even past that, it's like there's too many entities out there that are encouraging you to not be financially responsible.
Right.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
they have a vested interest in.
Extracting your money.
Payday loans.
Yeah.
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 Things that are taking advantage of people in really bad positions,
And
essentially.
this gets back to that thing about like, when you're being harmed, being able to go to regulatory groups like a government or whomever to be like, hey, we need you to save us from ourselves. And maybe not all of us are that bad with money, but we know there's a lot of us out there that are bad with money. It would just be better if you could find a way to stop this terrible predatory thing from happening to a chunk of us that is,
Yeah. Rain checks
would be
still
kinda
exist
nice.
as a thing. Generally, you have to ask about them. There's a good chance that even if a store does do them, that the people who work there may not have been told how to do them because they get asked about so rarely
Right.
that they might not know what the heck you're talking about.
Yeah.
But they sort of still exist. But yeah, I worked a layaway counter when I was like 16 for a bit, and at that point it felt like we were phasing out layaway.
Nah.
So like
Yeah.
I know nobody barely knows what that terminology means anymore, or what that's about.
Well, and a lot of that I feel is
'Cause
probably
of credit cards, really.
Yeah, it comes along, especially when you have company like when Zellers had like the Club Z credit card. To them, it's like, why would we do layaway anymore? We'll just get you to apply for the Club Z credit card. You can have that thing now, and you can pay it off over time, rather than paying it off over time until we give it to you. It's like, why would we want to do that? Why wouldn't we just let you have it right now, and it's not in our place anymore? And we know you're good for it because you signed a contract to say you're going to pay 20% of it until you fucking die.
Yeah. So I make a face every time Beach brings up things like credit cards, Zellers, because I did work at a Zellers, and if you work at any place where people are like, oh, nobody makes commission, so they're definitely looking out for your best interests. That's all live. We just have different. There's just different things that they look at, and at Zellers, it was getting people to pay for stuff using the credit card. Your credit card transactions were your thing you had to aim for.
Right. How many can you? It's like we want to encourage people to pay on the Club Z card. The
Club Z card was like a points card thing, but
Yeah.
the credit card itself was
Or
what?
the Zellers credit card, or the
Yeah.
HBC credit card, or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
I know like GameStop always used to
Yeah.
be big on. It's like they want pre-owned titles. They want
Yeah,
people
GameStop's
giving-
metrics are going to be
and gameplay the old like gameplay guarantees,
the insurance and the guarantees and
Right,
stuff.
okay.
When I worked at Walmart for a while, the metric was became the credit card once the credit card became a thing, but before that, it was a charity thing. Like you had to try to convince people to do. Because occasionally they do like, hey, you want to spend $2 extra to put towards this charity? That was a metric.
That's weird.
Yes,
I guess
it
it
is.
was a charity that Walmart operated.
I don't know. I worked Till for 6 months and then got out of there for housewares. Yeah.
When we did Unskippable, the people at GameStop really liked us because every month or two, Graham and I would come in with a stack of like 15 games.
The ones you've covered, yeah.
The ones you covered, give those back, like basically give those back and get like store credit.
Yep.
And then just get a bunch of other games. Because we did it, we like rented games for a while and then Blockbuster went away and all the game rental stuff went away.
Right.
But
So-
yeah, everybody has their different metrics. I worked at a clothing store that specifically wanted to tell people over and over, hey, we don't get commission, but our metrics were that you had to make a certain dollar per person, that you had to sell on average 3 items to that person. And then there was like a third one. And if you didn't match up to your metrics, you would get talked at. Essentially, and all your metrics were based on like math from the year before, which was great because our company was going bankrupt, so none of our metrics made any difference. It was so sad and depressing, and we all wondered if we were getting paid.
Hey, GameStop is auctioning off the stapler and the
staple
and the staple
put it in
and
a little
also
baggie.
the actual Switch 2
with
Yeah.
a repaired screen.
with a repaired screen.
Well, when we say there
The
were
first one.
there were 100 that had this trouble. This is the first one that had the thing. It's already up to something ridiculous.
Apparently, it's currently almost $250,000.
Now it is for a charity,
It's for charity,
and definitely a PR stunt
and
because I won't let them have that.
but
without
also
that.
and also, despite I 100% thought that this was part of the joke in
Yeah.
the video in the thing. CEO of GameStop Ryan Cohen saying that he would include his underwear in the auction if it got to a certain threshold.
Yeah.
250,000's got to be hitting
I
that
hope so. It
threshold.
must be Olive's underwear by now.
That is not something that we just added to be goofy. That apparently did actually happen.
How much money do I have to pay for this thing for him to not give me his underwear?
That'll be another $50,000.
I was saying to Heather the other night when we were chatting about this that the frustration that I see with this is like, anyone remember goldenpalace.com? get that in mind while we talk about this.
I still don't know
it's
this
fine.
place.
It was an online casino type situation thing, and they had bought like, hey, we've got this grilled cheese that looks like Jesus. Like they were doing that.
Okay, that I think I remember.
They were going online and they were getting curios and stuff like that, so they could kind of show them
Please
off.
believe it or not,
Very,
kind of thing.
very much that kind of thing to be like, we want these to be things, and we'll pay money for them. We'll pay good money for them because we've got a backer from somewhere, but we're an online casino, so we have lots of money. But the idea was to like constantly try to push these stupid, interesting things to constantly keep their name getting out there, like that kind of thing. But all it ever felt like to me with a lot of this stuff is a thing goes up on eBay, and then a company decides that they want to be a part of the meme or the story or the whatever. They become a part of it, somebody comes up with a really like, here's a dumbass thing that I have, and all of a sudden people are bidding it up above the $100 or the $200 that such a thing might be worth. You start to see stuff going for like, $14,000, $20,000, like that kind of thing. And when it starts to hit that level, I'm like, I don't trust where any of that money is coming from or who's involved and where it's going to. Because it's not like we rarely ever hear actually about, here's what happened to the person who got X, right? Like the guy who finds the one ring in the copy of in the Magic the Gathering pack.
Only the one.
Yeah, the luck thing of I opened up the one copy of that one thing. We hear about that story. Then we hear about what might happen in terms of like, oh, this is going to get sold and it's going to have whatever. But then at a certain point, that story kind of feels like it breaks down and you never really hear about the provenance of like, where did this thing go after that kind of thing. Like those types of situations.
I went to Post Malone.
Post Malone got it. Okay. He paid $2 million for it or something?
Yeah.
Right? But that's what I mean. I'm like, but then Post Malone put $2 million up in order to do that. I'm like, okay, well, this thing is bid up to $250,000 right now. Who's going to buy that? Are they going to let themselves be known as to who they are? What does this person do for a living? Is it just some rich jackass who's like, I want to have this thing so the 4 or 5 of my buddies and I can all goof at the fact that we have this thing? Is it some random oil baron somewhere who's like, I have millions upon millions of dollars, I'm going to spend this money for this? And I'm just like, it's a really weird thing that I'm like, I'm glad it's all for charity, but I don't really... it's like, it feels completely disconnected from my life.
I mean, it might be one of those things where a certain amount of money was tagged for charity anyway.
Sure, but also
that makes more sense.
It doesn't really. So like the one ring thing, sure, because everybody knows it's going to be whatever, and it gets sold to a celebrity, so that stuff makes news. But like, I don't know if this ends up getting bought by someone who just
by a Saudi prince.
Well, then we'll probably hear about that. But like, it's kind of like, we don't know who wins and what happens to every object that gets sold on eBay, and I wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
And I certainly wouldn't want to bid on things knowing that people get to know all of that information publicly.
There's that too.
So,
and
I think it's the problem where it's like something that feels like it's part of a world I live in rapidly departs that world, and it's like, this is no longer part of your sphere of a thing that I'm never going to spend $250,000 on a Switch that had a staple put through it because it's a meme, haha, very funny, whatever.
Sure.
It's like that rapidly ascended out of the sphere of things that I can relate to, and I think that a lot of people out there can even relate to as well. I don't even know people who would be like, oh yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I would totally do a thing like that. Like, it feels like because of the nature of wealth inequality, right? When it comes to like, I'm going to spend X number of dollars on this, it's like, I don't get why it doesn't make any, your value system's completely different. And it's just like this thing, which was just, it's a Nintendo Switch 2. We own one of those. It got a staple through it. We made a joke about it on this show. Ha ha, very funny. Uh-huh. It's going to sell for $250,000 and that money's going to go to charity. I actually don't know what that's really like. And I work on Desert Bus every year where we make $1 million and it's hard to fathom that is going off to a place to help a bunch of kids. It's really, that's what gets me about the stories. I'm like, I can't connect this, even though all the elements of it are things that should be familiar to me. It's like I can't connect to this kind of thing anymore.
I guess I'm just baffled by why it matters that you can't connect with it.
Because it felt like
to me, it doesn't matter.
It was a bunch of things that felt like I could connect to it, and now it's like I feel like it's moved into a completely different realm. That's all.
Okay.
Well, actually, this is something that is a similar amount of money actually has gone into.
Oh.
Maybe you can connect to this one.
Is there USB-C?
Taki Udon.
I've heard of them.
Taki Udon.
Yeah.
Who is a
like udon.
super cool modder. They've done all sorts of neat mods, including a OLED screen for a Switch Lite mod.
That's not a normal thing.
No.
Okay.
They have been working for the past 18 months. 18 months worth of R&D, many failed revisions, and more than $200,000 in costs. They have now made a OLED Switch Lite with HDMI output.
Okay, that's kind of cool, though.
That's pretty damn cool. But wow.
That's
The
gonna
first
be
fully
expensive,
assembled
though.
device in the world. You can't imagine how relieved I am that it works. This is the most difficult project I've ever worked on.
Oh, I bet.
So he's made a Switch Lite that has HDMI output.
It also doesn't. It looks like it's like this isn't some sort of weird prototype with like a weird 3D printed case or like any sort of whatever. It's like literally this stuff all fits into a standard 3D. Like you could take your Switch Lite apart, put the things together, and put it all back together without needing like custom parts.
So you can see, you can just. Ooh. Now, obviously, the main reaction is, but you could just have gotten a regular Switch.
Yeah.
And it has a HDMI dock.
And an
part of it, right?
Yeah.
Of course, that's not the point.
No.
No, that's not the point. I mean, I do like the idea of a Switch Lite with an OLED screen on it.
Yeah.
That if that had been a thing, I might have been more tempted for one of those.
I also think that like Barbarian says $200,000. It's like, yeah, like I'm assuming that has to do with a lot of extra equipment and other things that we're not seeing in this video.
I'm assuming a lot of broken switches. Yeah.
Possibly. Yeah.
But yes, I don't think he's gone into detail about how it cost him $200,000 in development.
Yeah.
But and maybe special HDMI programming rigs or something.
Yeah.
Who knows? He's also said after he put it out, somebody's like, "That's really cool. So how about that Switch 2 OLED hack?"
Well, I mean, that is one thing that people would like on the Switch 2 that they don't have, but I mean, the price would probably have been a lot more.
And he said, he says that's definitely something he's going to look at.
Yeah, it makes sense. I do like that it looks like the HDMI is on top, so it's not. I didn't make a dockable Switch Lite exactly.
No.
Unless you're gonna flip it over and dock it in upside down onto an HDMI port or some crazy stuff, but.
No, because I mean, it's like the Switch and like the regular Switch doesn't dock the HDMI port.
No.
Like there's not like an HDMI port
it's
on
USB-C.
the thing.
Exactly. It's just HDMI. Yeah, it's USB-C. Yeah, exactly.
He also says he's well aware that this project will not recoup its. Presumably, I guess he's going to be selling these, but he knows that this isn't good. He's saying like after I did the third revision and it failed, I gave up on recouping my costs.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
At a certain point, it becomes a matter of pride, I guess.
I wonder how many revisions DP is then.
I don't know.
I swear I'd heard Taki Udon before as a name because
he's also developer of the Mr. Pie.
Oh, okay. I guess then you're going to have some money.
Which speaking of Desert Bus.
Yeah.
That was what we used to run the
last couple of
Sega
years.
CD. Yeah.
In fact, Sega CDs are a little brittle at this point, so we needed an alternative. I think Taki Udon also did custom Taiko no Tatsujin drums for consoles.
Sounds like something that would be good.
Yeah.
Boop, 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 boop. Capcom was going to, so they were going to do a talk at CEDEC, which is a Japanese game developer conference.
Okay.
And the title of the talk was Monster Hunter Wilds Runs Smoothly! Exclamation point. Everything you need to know about optimization.
Okay.
All right.
So it was just going to be a talk from the developers. The problem is, just a little between when they announced the talk and when the talk was going to happen, Monster Hunter Wilds put out an update that apparently tanked the performance and was kind of buggy.
Okay.
Which I think they've said that. I think people say that they've mostly fixed it now, although in some cases it still has
That's
problems.
not something that usually cancels a talk, though, Paul.
But so in the stock and I guess because there was already a bunch of backlash against this buggy update or this update that was perceived to be buggy, and apparently there was a lot of nasty stuff written to Capcom developers.
Like calling them names.
Death threats?
Yeah, worse than just...
More that than this?
Yeah, worse.
Okay.
We take customer opinions and requests seriously as they are indispensable for improving our products and services, and we strive to improve quality. On the other hand, we have confirmed instances of slander, libel, degradation, intimidation, threats of harm, and disruption of business and harassment against our executives and employees by name. Furthermore, in severe cases, we may have to contact the police or lawyers to take legal action, including criminal proceedings. They didn't, and so now they've canceled this talk.
Okay.
They didn't say the reason why they're canceling the talk is because of all this harassment that's been directed at
They
their
want you to draw that line
developers.
yourself.
Well, other people are anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's unfortunate that this update came, I feel like presumably the developer, the tips and tricks and developer things that they were going to talk about at this thing were probably ones that are sort of unrelated to this update that went out.
Fair. Yeah.
So
Likely, yeah.
I'm sure they would be very useful for other developers to hear, but it's just, and I can totally understand, especially if some of the people giving the talk are the people who have been harassed by name and threatened by name. They might not be super excited to do a public talk about this kind of stuff.
Also, I just want to point out that I like that for anybody watching at home, there was a clear continuum. On this side of your screen was getting called names, and on that side of your screen was death threats, and there was a continuum between us. It's to be like, well, where does it fall on the continuum here? And it's like, oh, well, okay. So you can always rely upon...
What? I don't make death threats.
No, but the continuum, the difference in
What,
how
the
bad
Q
things
continuum?
can get.
Speaking of things that fans are unhappy about,
Oh, great. More of those. Oh,
it's Final Fantasy's Final Fantasy IX's
Nine.
25th anniversary.
Wait, people like 9, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
What?
people like 9.
I
Right?
thought people like 9.
Oh, for
I thought
years-
I
for
thought
years.
I thought it was 8 people didn't like.
For years, people didn't like 9 until they started liking 9.
Yeah, but that's like...
No, 8 is the one that people didn't like.
Eight's the one people don't like.
Oh, I remember people not liking 9 as well.
Okay.
Where I
no,
lived.
no. Now they
So,
do.
Yeah.
People liked or disliked every Final Fantasy
No,
game.
people
In
love
any case,
7.
this is
That's
truth.
weird.
Final Fantasy IX, 25th anniversary. It's very exciting. Now, as a fan, if you see this as like a thing, Final Fantasy IX, 25th anniversary, I feel like it is almost impossible not to subconsciously add Final Fantasy IX, 25th anniversary edition.
Yes. You're
Yeah.
right.
Well, yeah, because like at minimum, you're going to expect maybe a nice re-release, maybe some updated graphics.
A lot of the times, the reason to
something.
celebrate an anniversary is because something that means something to that anniversary is
Like they're not going to go as hard as the weird Final Fantasy VII remake, whatever's.
like saying in details. Oh, commemorative video. It's like nobody fucking cares. Even if they love Final Fantasy IX, it's like no. What they want is Final Fantasy IX again. I would assume if you're going to say 20th anniversary.
So now they've in a little a week or two ago, they released this Final Fantasy IX 25th anniversary webpage that got people very excited. They're like, oh, because they're going to be doing a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
And they
they
put
do
out some
that.
like anniversary, commemorative art.
Sure.
People can't just put up a website for nothing.
Some desktop wallpapers and stuff, a bunch of sort of celebratory
Some phone
things.
wallpapers too, I bet.
But then
commemorative video.
people are like, oh, this is very cool, very cool. What's going to happen?
oh no.
But July 7th is actually the anniversary.
Okay.
Is actually, so they like put this up a few weeks before.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay, there's not too much cool then. But
but on the 7th,
on the actual day,
That
that's
means-
when the cool stuff's going
it's
to happen.
past the 7th. I don't remember hearing anything. What
know
happened,
it.
Paul?
They have revealed that they're going to do a fan art contest. Woo!
Just what you've all been clamoring for.
Really? That's it? Not even like a fun music collection or something?
Well, there are.
Oh no, there's a picture book that they're doing, and they're doing some other merchandise, and there's going to be a sale on for Final Fantasy IX stuff.
They say there's a.
Another Final Fantasy thing.
Is
They
any
say
of
there's a vinyl. I don't know if that means it's an actual soundtrack or just something printed on vinyl.
Is there what's the cool?
Oh yeah, it
what's
looks like special vinyl celebrating their
Okay.
collection of original tracks into the recorded things.
is
It's not nothing.
yeah, no, back to that fan contest. Did they win anything other than just like did they get to
Fan-
have the final?
The Final Fantasy IX 25th anniversary fan art project. We are asking you, the fans, to share your love for Final Fantasy IX with your own art submissions. Visit the project site below.
It might not be much of a contest, but more of just a project. It's hard
Yes.
to. Yeah, I'm just seeing criteria and selection and
Nope.
nothing about prizes. So just
Nah, you can just make fan art. And
You
let
can
them
make
know.
fan art, and then they're going to take that fan art, and they're going to show that fan art.
yeah, and they get to decide whether they're going to show it or not,
Okay.
depending on how good it is, or whether they think
Is
it's
any
cute.
of the merch at least cool? Like the vinyl's kind of
Vivi's
neat.
getting a
I'll
book.
give-
Yeah, there's a VV picture book. It's kind of nice, although it isn't the final cover. It's a very
like
Nausicaa.
Nausicaa,
Yeah,
yeah.
Nausicaa, yeah. Final Fantasy IX's beloved Black Mage Vivi as Grandpa teaches him how to live a good life.
All right.
Aw. I hope they make that into a cartoon short.
So yeah.
They
The-
made a website just for that?
And then the additional level of silliness to do this is they did that. The Domino's Pizza account posted just announced the remake already.
That's so funny.
Yeah, okay.
Did Domino's just become the coolest pizza company?
Oh my god.
What's his name?
That's what we need more social media to be, is just company accounts asking other company accounts to make things.
Nate the Hate, who is a known
He's a
industry leaker.
Yeah, he's an industry leaker. He does podcasts and he does a lot of leaks for Nintendo stuff, amongst some other things.
Has said that last check the remake is in development, to my knowledge. I did hear a month ago that they were, but it could be in trouble and possibly canceled.
Look, we're getting tactics.
But he says this only came from one source, so don't take it to mean much until it's fully verified.
Grab me a Coke from the fridge on your way back.
I will.
Okay, cool.
So anyway, so far, Final Fantasy IX's 25th anniversary has been a little bit disappointing.
I hope the vinyl has looks really cool on the inside. I think that's one of the things I like about
Like fancy vinyl?
like vinyls is like when you open them and the big disc is like a different color, or they do like a fun thing with it.
The fact that they're not showing anything would kind of indicate that that's not the case.
I've been on. So you're looking on the Square website, right?
Yeah.
They are not a website that likes to show off pictures of any of their products, as far as I've ever seen.
Yes, they seem to be not a very good place for.
It's
considering that's supposed to be the place
annoying.
to sell things.
Personally, I don't really intend to buy, because I'm pretty sure they ship from the States for us. So buying stuff from them is just kind of
Awkward.
expensive.
Yeah.
Before the weird times, and now it's probably more expensive. So,
Are you into playing Call of Duty World War II on Game Pass?
I'm going to say yes for the bit. Yes, Paul. I'm absolutely into playing Call of Duty Warfare 2 on the Game Pass.
World War II.
World War 2.
So, Call of Duty World War II, come on Game Pass. You shouldn't, if you...
I can't even get the name right.
If you were playing it, you should stop, but you probably can't play it anymore because it's been taken offline. Because it turns out that they were having a remote code execution hacker problem, which is like the worst kind. That's the
Many words that are really alarming in that sentence.
Just our remote code execution, or RCE, is like the worst kind of. It's basically the worst kind of hacking situation. Like you know, lots of games have hackers have problems with hackers and stuff, cheating in the game or blah blah blah.
Yeah, or making it really hard to play. Or
Yeah, remote code execution is there's a bug or there's an exploit in the game that allows a nefarious individual to actually run code on your computer.
Ooh.
So we're talking bots and viruses and
Yeah.
all that kind of bad stuff. So they had to take it offline, and I believe at the moment it's still offline while they're figuring things out. And apparently, this is a problem that's been the case with other Call of Duty games, and this uses the same engine for those other Call of Duty games. So anyway, if you were playing it, maybe run a virus check or something, but you probably can't play it now because it's like offline. But hopefully they'll get that sorted out, because obviously it's kind of a big deal. So anyway, we'll see how that goes. There's surprisingly
hopefully better.
This is one of those.
Seems pretty bad.
Yeah, there's like surprisingly like little information that I could see about it. Just like, oh, it appears to be offline. They're saying it was taken offline for some because there were some hacking issue, or there was needed to have some maintenance or something, and then they kind of didn't talk about it anymore. But so yeah. Okay, so there's another story here, and we talked about this a little bit before we went online.
Okay.
This story is kind of an interesting. I think it illustrates the kind of the life, in some ways, the life cycle of a checkpoint story.
Oh no.
Because this is talking about Subnautica, which we talked about. We did a story about last week. Was it only last week?
I thought they
Or was
just
it 2
talked
weeks
about it in
ago?
the after show. Did they actually? Oh no, it did come up in the.
Yeah, it did actually.
thing,
Graham
right?
actually did a story about it.
It was about the people who ended up leaving,
Yeah,
or were
And-
told to leave, or
yeah.
one of
Some
that.
people left, and then another person took over.
Right.
And then
Because we need that other person to take over, so because goals weren't being made or something.
yeah, and so we did a story about that. Was all the information we had at that point, that the three main people, head of the developer Unknown Worlds, had either left or been pushed out. It was, again, at the time it was kind of unclear, and the lead developer of Callisto Protocol had been brought in.
Yeah, and then about yesterday and the day before, everything started to explode.
Yeah,
A little bit more, and then more, and then more, and I think it's still exploding.
So, and this is what's kind of interesting, or I find kind of interesting about this story is, so yes, then a bunch of info came out about, so it's this, when I'm saying about the life cycle is, it's this kind of thing where it's like a bunch of info came out where it turns out that they hadn't, that the terms that they had left on were not good, and there was some very bad, the argument about why they were actually leaving. It turns out that there may have been a large there's going to be a large bonus if the company made if Unknown Worlds had made certain goals, and those, in order to make those goals, they would have wanted to actually release the game into early access.
Yeah, it was like if they released the game in 2025 and do whatever, then there was supposed to be a large amount of money. And
$250 million.
Yeah, that was going to be given as a bonus.
And for some people, that was like thousands of dollars that they were going to
acquire. And then so it was this bizarre situation where, the story we did originally was the guys who are the main people behind the company, or the head of the company, is leaving. They're bringing in this other guy who made Callisto Protocol, which was not that well received, but they just want to fast track the development and get it out the door. And then the revelation turned out to be that Krafton, the publisher, was actually delaying the release.
Yes.
And the developers and the makers wanted to release it into early access, but the idea that Krafton wouldn't let them, and the theory was that they wouldn't let them because they had this bonus tied to it being
the speculation was they didn't
2025.
want to give them the bonus, and then there was like, was it Krafton came back and blamed the playtesters?
No, Krafton came back and blamed these guys, and they're saying that the reason why they kicked these guys out is that they weren't working on the game. They were working on like side projects, and apparently one guy was just like making a movie.
But the reason why they're not going to release the game,
and the reason why they're not going to release the game is because it's not done to the point where they think it could even be released into early access.
And they know that because of the playtesters? Is that
the feedback that they got from playtesters?
Yeah, well, one of the things the first things that came out was that the playtesters said the game wasn't ready yet, and that's why the game was getting delayed, and people were arguing about whether or not that was true or if it was because of the bonus. Both things can be true. And then this thing came out about the employees who left, and because they're also now like suing them.
So this is the problem: is that all this info came out
like within 12 hours,
and there's also there's even a whether it's how reliable it is, who knows, but a part of a slide deck got leaked too.
I hadn't seen that part.
Yeah, I saw this morning. That basically it was like Krafton being, okay, this is what you guys said that you wanted to do for early access.
Okay.
You wanted to have 5 different biomes. You wanted to have this. You wanted to have this many characters. You wanted to have this many monsters. You wanted to have this progress. You wanted to have like 3 chapters done. You wanted to have. Blah, blah, blah.
I don't want there to be any monsters, Paul. I don't want there to be any monsters anymore.
And then certain thing, and then they're like, that's what you said in 2023.
Okay.
And then they're like, in 2024, we had to cut the expectations for what the early access was going to be in 2025 back.
Okay,
So
that can happen.
There's only going to be like 4 biomes. There's only going to be like 20 different types of fish and stuff.
Okay.
Sure.
There's
I mean, that
going
can
to be
happen, yeah.
there's going to be less progression stuff. And they're like, when we looked at your thing most recently, there are 3 biomes. So like they're like, you're not at the point where we agreed you had to be in order to do early access.
Right.
Now,
Even after we adjusted our expectations.
even after we pulled the expectations.
Wow.
That's what seems to be the case from this slide deck.
Right.
There seems to be a discrepancy, and I've seen some people talk about this, that now you played Subnautica on Switch.
I played it while it was in early access years ago when we were in Delta.
Right.
And then I played it again when it was finished on the Switch.
And I played it on Game Pass.
Okay.
And I watched Beach freak out to monsters he didn't want in the game.
But again, after it had been released.
Right.
There's some people are saying, like, when Subnautica was first released, it was kind of shit.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything to do.
Right.
It was just kind of float around and
Sandbox
do
or
stuff.
water box.
Yeah. And
There's sand at
basically
the
what there may be a discrepancy between what Unknown Worlds thinks is okay to release as, or thought is okay to release as an early access game.
Right.
And Crafton is like, this is the sequel to a very, very popular game.
Yeah.
If we release it in the sort of barely functional version that you guys released the first one into early access is,
Yeah.
we're going to get creamed.
Sure.
And that, in order to, giving everybody the benefit of the doubt, because there's certainly, in order for this, everything that everybody has written to be true, somebody's got to, or it can't be true. So
Right.
people are lying about something, or at least have a very different interpretation of certain things.
Right.
But that seems to be the discrepancy that I'm seeing, is what early access means.
I mean,
Yeah, ultimately.
that is a discrepancy I just see when early access is a thing, right? Because we know that, okay, sometimes when people say early access, there's like, it's really buggy and there's hardly anything to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes people say early access and you play the game and you're like, this just seems done. But you know this, they're still working on stuff.
Yeah.
And then you have, because Hades 2 and Hades were both early access and they were using that as fan feedback and finishing it up. And like that seems to be like the optimal case of what you want early access to be for and
Yeah.
about.
It's not beta testing, but it is at a point of finish and polish where you feel like we could have released this game the way it was, but what we're really looking for is to try to make that next step rather than having to release a lot of like
Well, they're still
patches
working
and
on
shit later.
characters and
Yeah.
balance and stuff and
yeah, I could believe that.
things
Yeah.
like that.
So all this stuff is happening.
Yeah.
All this info has been released over the last couple of days. And then the problem is, in terms of like interest for a checkpoint story, there's the graph of like something funny is happening. Oh, we can do a story about that. Oh, there's all this info. Oh, this is super cool. There's all this stuff. And then we get to, there's starting to be like too much information that's happening too fast for us to summarize.
Right.
And now a bunch of people are suing each other, and all the information is going to get cut off because
Right.
it's dropped into, and now it's going to be like, there's all this stuff, but we don't know anything about it because it's all going to be discovery for the next 6 months.
Because everyone had to shut the hell up because now that the lawyers are involved, it's like you can't say anything to anybody.
But if we're really lucky, that means there's like 6 months of really funny, dumb things that come out that aren't even related.
Right.
Yeah.
It's gonna come out like, things are gonna come out in discovery, like,
You know,
And it is one of those
Remember-
things where it's
Apple and Epic, some of the best parts of that were the other companies they dragged in. And I know it's not going to be big enough for that, but the other companies they dragged in that we found out secrets for.
maybe
that
we'll
they were not supposed to.
maybe we'll find out stuff about like PUBG and stuff. Like Crafton makes other games.
That's true.
what I think is interesting here then too is it's like there's not going to be one like universal truth. There are, because multiple things that are being said so far, a lot of them could be true at the same time. Because especially the thing about like Crafton saying like you can't release a game like that the way that you guys released the original Subnautica because that's not how grown-up companies release video games. Like, I don't know if that's what you want to say, right? But it could be the point of view.
It is, and it's like, and whether you're going to do that, yeah.
And it could also be true that the guys leading Unknown Worlds were completely fine with the idea of like, no, this has to come out now. Why? Because I want my $250 million that I'm going to spread around to my employees, but I'll probably keep the bulk of it for myself. And then
It's, of course, there's a lot of like
the assumptions, but
I mean, there's a lot of like crafting going like that $250 million was going to be mainly going to those 3 people, so they had like a huge incentive. And then of course the guys are like, well, we were going to take it and spread it among the people on the thing. And then you sort of go like, do you have some sort of documentation of that? Like, well, no, but I mean, like when we sold the company, we gave there's a lot of you have to who you believe.
Yeah, and you had employees who were saying to the guy who's leading it now, this is as the story goes, you have employees in Unknown Worlds being like, hey, so what about our bonuses? And the guy's like, sorry, what? And he's like, well, we were told that part of that $250 million that was coming in, we would be getting bonuses, and it was like thousands of dollars. Not like I get $1 million from this or something, or $10 million, but it's like I'm going to have a sizable bonus tied to that. And it's like that I believe an owner of a company would say, hey, we just got a massive influx of money that's coming to me personally. I just made $50 million. Thank you for all your hard work on making the product that just made me $50 million. Here's $50,000 for you. And it's like, you could have gone up like a whole order of magnitude and it still wouldn't have hurt. You could have given people $500,000 a piece and you only would have lost out on maybe like $10 million of that $50 million. You'd still be really comfortable, but you chose to give them $50,000, which is a little fucking cheap. But anyway.
But of course, and as with the lawsuit and all this stuff, we're into the area where we don't actually know a lot of this stuff. So it's like I said, that's sort of like, oh, it's really interesting as a Checkpoint story, and then we get in, and then it sort of drops off, and is like, now we can't really talk. Like there isn't really anything to talk about for an actual like written thing for Checkpoint, because the actual story for like an episode of Checkpoint would be like, there's this big thing happening, but then it kind of we'll don't know.
Maybe be able to tell you more about it later.
So hopefully we'll find out. Maybe the lawsuit thing won't happen. Maybe other things will happen. Maybe it'll get resolved. Maybe we'll see a thing about it. Obviously, it is something that, both Bij and I are keeping an eye on because we're very interested in the game.
Yes.
Although
we're never going to get to play it.
Although I'm
not this year.
Slightly grumpy about because they did release the trailer. They released a trailer for Subnautica 2.
Cool.
Just, I guess.
I didn't watch it yet.
Yeah.
So I was looking for it and I couldn't find it.
Appears to really emphasize the multiplayer capabilities.
Ooh.
No, I don't believe that.
Which makes me kind of grumpy because I don't like being lost and alone on the planet was kind of the thing I liked about it.
Yeah, and I because I don't
being
know.
Lost and alone with some jackass over there doing stuff. I don't like.
He means me. But it's like, if we were to both play it together, maybe crossplay isn't even involved at that point either, because I would play it on my Switch too, probably. But it's like, I'm like, I also don't know if I would enjoy the process of, because I don't know how you would like to build bases. I don't know how you would like to, you gave me some very good information.
Personal thing.
Yeah, you gave me some very good information about if you build your scanner rooms and stuff, that's a huge help. And I was like, I should build my what? And it's like, your scanner room. I'm like, I built one once, but it didn't really do anything. It's like, have you tried building other ones further out? And I was like, you could just do that. You could just build scanner rooms. You could build places to power them, and you could do, holy shit. And then once I started really thinking those things through, the game opened up for me way more than it already was. So yeah.
Anyway, so we'll see. But anyway, it is a whole thing. I hope that they get it resolved because I definitely want to play Subnautica 2.
Yeah. Though I would go for just playing another game that's exactly like Subnautica, even if it's completely different setting.
Have you played Absu yet?
I have not.
It's not. It doesn't have the building stuff.
Yeah.
That I know you like, but it is kind of a swim round.
And there have been, there's other base building type games and things. There's other things that are kind of, nothing quite hits it exactly, but there are definitely things. But anyway, Final story tonight.
Final story.
Talking about we talked about Last of Us 2, but and this is kind of related because it's about Naughty Dog. Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, which is the next game they're working on that was extensively teased at.
I keep forgetting
Summer
Naughty
Game
Dog will
Awards.
make other games.
Yeah, I'm actually super excited because I like Naughty Dog games, but I've never really been into the Last of Us series because it's just kind of a bummer.
You think?
Like they made like Jack and Daxter and Uncharted.
Yeah.
Oh,
Those were fun games.
they used to make fun games.
And so I'm hoping that Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet might be a little bit more.
No, there's just some words
Fun.
in there that sound.
I'm not
not fun.
I'm not a fan of the name. It's a little bit of a mouthful, but
Yeah.
anyway,
What's the game about? Do you know?
I believe it is about a prophet
Who's a heretic?
who does not go along with the normal things that people believe,
Okay.
and it's also in space.
Is it just
Right.
like around one planet, or does it like?
You might think so, but no. I believe it is involving multiple galaxies.
Wow.
Or intergalactic, you might even say.
Interesting.
I see.
I don't know anything
Is there
about
an orc city and is there an elvish king?
All I
So-
know is the little teaser that they showed, which looked cool.
Okay. All right.
But
I thought you were really super invested in a new game, so maybe you knew more.
well, I mean, I want to know, but I want to play it, but it's one of those games where I don't want to like go super deep into the
Right.
preview stuff
That's
and
fair.
ruin it for myself.
That's fair.
But anyway, one of the things that features prominently in the teaser is the person is like in a spaceship and stuff and doing things, and you get to see the spaceship, and it's a really cool looking spaceship. And so the Neil Druckmann, who's the series creator, who was in the news recently because he just recently left the Last of Us TV show.
Yeah.
Sorry. There was a comment on Checkpoint that made me laugh because there was one person who was just like, wait, this is the week I find out Neil Druckmann left the show through a Checkpoint lower third.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he left.
Come to us for news.
There's like the next season or whatever will be.
It just
thing,
means
'cause
people are reading them. It makes me very happy that people are reading their screens sometimes.
He went back, so he's back at Naughty Dog instead of at the making the video game or making the TV show, presumably working on this Intergalactic. And he apparently contacted Two Bricks, who is quite a prominent YouTube Lego builder.
Okie dokie.
And he got a Lego version of the cool ship from the game, custom built for himself.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah. It is a 984 Porsche.
And then,
So I'm guessing Porsche
although
designed
apparently he
it.
didn't expect that Two Bricks also made a little like custom minifig to go along with it
That's cool.
with a laser sword.
Got to have laser swords and good sci-fi.
Yeah. Super cool, and it's got like the
Assembly documentation.
well, one of the cool things with the Lego community is there's a you can like they're like people have things for like making manuals and stuff.
Right.
So
Yeah.
on Rebrickable, there's a certain thing you could buy for $10. You can buy all the plans for this.
Okay.
Apparently, it requires about 1,349 parts,
Okay.
which would cost. So you can basically this is like scratch built, right?
Right.
So you can buy all the parts, and then buy this manual, and you can put it together and build one of your own.
So, but they're saying about $140 for all the parts, and then $10 for the plans, and $150 for a big thing is a thing. So,
Assuming you don't have any pieces of Lego already lying around.
Yeah.
But
Well,
Anyway,
I'm sure
mean,
some of it's going to be filler that you may,
when you're trying to make something very specific like this, even if you have a bunch of Lego, laying around, you may not have the pieces you really want
I do
or
love
the,
that.
the colors.
Yeah.
I do love that there's like fan-made Lego manuals, though. I don't know why I didn't realize that would be a thing, but of course it's a thing. That's beautiful. I love that. Just taking all the parts and like using them in different ways. Anyway, that's all the stuff that we want to talk about today in terms of video game news. Anyway, thanks for joining us. If you haven't watched this episode of ChillPoint, you should do so because it is very funny. And although it's got a few of the stories are a bit of a bummer, but they're done in a funny way.
That's our stock in trade.
Because
No.
they say the thing 3 times.
When you say a thing 3 times, it either appears in front of you or it's really funny.
Yeah.
Maybe both.
Yeah. Next week, I'm going to be working Bloody Mary into my.
I think you should.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks everybody for joining us, and we will talk to all y'all later.
Patreon.com/loadingreadyrun.
Also that.